Hey guys, we are live. I'm so excited for today. I haven't done a live since I think like February or March, so feel a little rusty maybe, but I think we're gonna get through it okay. So the way this is gonna work is my community manager, Ali, is in the chat and she's gonna be kind of compiling all of the questions you have for me. So today, let me just mute this real quick. Today the focus is gonna be on your websites and on the Profitable Website Launchpad, which is my signature course, which is available this week only until January. So I bring it out of the vault, 3 times a year, and then you can enroll anytime now through Friday at midnight. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. Or if you just have any questions about your website in general, ask that as well. And Ali's going to put it into my little chat here. But by the way, I want to know if I'm coming through okay. Are you guys able to hear me and see me all right? Let me see if I can see the chat roll here. I don't know if I'm seeing the chat. But anyway, want to know where you guys are coming in from though. So yeah, put in the chat where you're watching from. And Ali is saying no echoing on her end. Okay, cool. So I think the audio sounds good. Oh wait, other people are hearing echoing. Is that what's happening? Let me know, post in the chat if you're hearing echoing or not, so we can kind of figure out together if that is an issue. Let me see here. And I'm not actually seeing, I don't know why I'm not seeing the chat. Okay, so it looks like only one person is seeing an echo. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I am blind to the chat, guys, as it turns out, so I'm not going to be able to even like shout that out. But I do have my roll of questions here. So I will be able to answer all your questions. And yeah, I did ask you guys, the people who are on my email list, if you wanted to submit any questions in advance. I'd pop those in the document. So we do have some of those here and there, and I'm going to get to those. And yeah, so let's just start off with the first question from Thomas. And that is, I'm a web designer struggling to get more clients and want to improve the conversion of my client sites, and I don't currently use Elementor. Would this course still work for me? So he's of course referring to the Profitable Website Launchpad, which I alluded to earlier. So he's wondering if first of all, there's a few things here. You say, Thomas, you don't use Elementor. That's okay, and I'll tell you why. First of all, let's say you just don't want to use Elementor at all, right? You've got something else you like to use. I get this question all the time about the program. If there's something else you like to use, if you rather use Wix, I don't recommend Wix, but if you like it, that's fine. The big part of the Profitable Website Launchpad is actually in creating the content, okay? That is the first 3 modules. The first 3 out of 4 modules, I teach you how to create the best marketing message that's gonna sell your services. We then translate that message into the written copy of the actual website. Then we focus on your lead magnet. That's all the content that's gonna get you more sales. After that, I actually show you how to use WordPress and Elementor to bring it to life. Having said that, again, if there's something else you like that you know how to use, you can 100% take the content we've created together and use whatever modality you want to bring that to life. It's not really important. I teach Elementor and WordPress because I find it to be the easiest way for a novice, for a newbie to get up and running quickly. So if you don't use Elementor and you don't want to, that's fine. If you don't use it just because you never have, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by how easy it is. I walk you through step by step, and inside the program, you actually get my personally designed Elementor site kit template. So what that means is you're not starting from scratch. You've got all these different section blocks, like content blocks, that fit the content that we've created perfectly. And then you can choose your own adventure. Like you've got multiple options for all of them. So you delete the ones you don't like, you use the one you do like, and then from there, it's customization city, baby, right? Like your own images, your own copy, your own colors, your own fonts. It's gonna look like you and your own business at the end of the day. So, and I think the other question here was about being a web designer, struggling to get more clients. For you, this is going to be especially good because not only can you use this to build your own website with, but you can use the principles that you're going to learn inside of the program for all of your clients' websites as well. So it's really good for all of that stuff. So it's good for any service business, but the web pros out there are going to get even more out of it. Okay, so yeah, anyway, guys, put your questions in the chat and I will get to them. And I've got one right here from Omar. And he says, I heard you speak about having one call to action formatted in a button that stands out from the rest of the site. I visited your site and you have several different call to action buttons. How come? Yeah, so you definitely want one main call to action button to get people going on your site. If you go to my website, you'll notice I have that. I have one main call to action button. It's in like a bright pink color. It's designated as the primary call to action. However, I have a few others as well that are kind of more using different colors that I treat as more secondary call to action buttons. But the other important thing to remember here too is I am no longer a service business, right? So the way I teach it in a service business is going to be a little different than the function my website has, which is I'm selling a course, I'm signing people up with lead magnets, that kind of thing. But I do practice what I preach. You'll notice the main call to action is that magenta color, and it's always kind of repeated, and that magenta color is not used hardly at all, if at all, on the rest of the site. All right. Next question is from Jason. Hey, Jason. He says, I'm sure that I've seen it somewhere, but I don't remember. Can you please let me know the cost and the duration of the course? And if a syllabus is available, that would be great to see as well. Yeah, I'm absolutely happy to share that. I'm actually going to, let's go ahead. Might as well just show this to you guys. I'm just going to do a little screen share. This is like if you were to go to westonmcdowell.com/launch, that's where you sign up for the course. You'll get to this page. And then if you click on Enroll Now and Start Today, here's the price. You've got a choice. You can either do one payment of $497, or you can do 6 monthly payments of $97. So it's up to you. And you get a lot with that, including some bonuses. And by the way, this is important too. I want to make sure everybody knows about this. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, meaning if you sign up and you're not happy with it for whatever reason, as long as you're in that 30 days, I will give you your money back. If you're outside of the 30 days, it's a different story. That's really my only rule with this. But you do get a 30-day money-back guarantee. Not many people have taken me up on it, but if you want to, that is part of the deal. So you're more than welcome to try it out risk-free. And in terms of syllabus, this is what the members area is going to look like. Once you're inside, I'm happy to show this to you guys, just so you know exactly what you'd be getting into. This is kind of an intro video telling you where to start. Right over here, we've got, this is important, you can join the Facebook group for members only. That is me answering your questions live every single week. And you would get a year of that. If you bought the course this week, you get a year of being in the Facebook group, asking me anything. I go on live video and answer it for you. From there, we have 4 modules, and as well as some bonuses and a bonus module where I show you how to get traffic to your new website. But in planning it out, it's basically, this is all the stuff that's going to be the building blocks of what it is you need to say on your website in order to get the most conversions. It's not enough to just talk about your own business in glowing terms. You need to hit on basically a story of what it is your clients are looking for. and this helps you do that. I use the customer saga formula for this. You get a workbook, you fill it in bit by bit, video by video, you fill in your details. Then from there, let's go back to then in content module 2, we take all of that content that you just like basically scribbled down, you took notes, we turn that into your actual copy for the website, section by section, page by page. From there, in terms of syllabus, we talk all about, in module 3, your lead magnet, which is super critical to get your runway of future customers. That's what's gonna make it so profitable for you. Because 96% of the people coming to your website today are not ready to buy today. And they'll probably never come back if you don't have a mechanism in place that's going to bring them back, get them on your email list so you can sell to them that way. Then in module 4, this is where we actually have fun and we bring it to life using, right here, the site kit that I talked about earlier. You import it, you make some tweaks to it, add in your own content, and you're good to go. So that's the basics for the syllabus. So let's go back here, this view. All right, cool. And let me make sure I answer that question fully there. Yeah, hopefully that helps you, Jason. Okay, next question. Oh, let me get rid of this question actually. Need to keep organized here. All right, we have a tech question from Fort Worth Claims Adjuster. Wes, I started using the Warm Welcome app. I love that. I've reached out to their team, but it's causing issues with Google being able to determine what is the primary video on my pages. This causes an issue because I want a service or product video to rank with Google Console, but Google isn't sure what the primary video is. Have you had or fixed this issue? Yeah, honestly, I don't know what that issue is in terms of a primary video on a page. I'm unfamiliar with that. So unfortunately, I can't really help you with that, but the Warm Welcome app, I wouldn't think that would even really be, it's an embedded thing. So I think if you had a YouTube video on your website, that would take precedence. Since Google owns YouTube, I would think that would take precedence over that. So unfortunately, that is too techie a question for me to answer today. Sorry about that. All right. Next is from the Jedi Bunny. Why do all the top HVAC plumbing company sites look alike? Should I have something different? It's pretty easy. The reason why so many sites look alike in any given space is they tend to basically copy what each other's doing, right? That's what most people do. They default to, I'm going to see what my competition's doing. Then they do that and it becomes kind of like an echo chamber. So in terms of doing something different, I wouldn't say like there's any huge benefit in doing something different for difference sake. What you should be doing different is communicating better than they do, because I guarantee you they are probably dropping the ball in a big way, like most service businesses do. For instance, for like an HVAC company, I can picture right now, there's probably a picture of someone pulling apart a heating vent or something and fixing it. No one wants to see those kind of photos. They don't want to think about the sausage being made of what you do. They want to see the happy end story. So think of it in terms of what your clients want out of this deal. They don't really, it's not that they want their heater pulled apart and fixed. They want to be able to enjoy their home. They want to be able to be comfortable in their home so their family feels safe. So hit on those kinds of emotions and you'll do better. That's probably my best advice for that. All right, next is from Shara. Hey, Shara. Is the live Q&A for 1 year or is it access to the Facebook group? If it's the latter, can you explain why? Thanks so much. Is the live Q&A for one, or is it access? Yeah, so you get 1 year access to that Facebook group to ask all the questions you want to. It's a members only group. The reason why it's going to be limited to a year is simply to make room for the next lot of people. We get several hundred students a year coming through here. So what we wouldn't want is it just being totally clogged up to where the new people who are getting their sites started can't get their questions answered week by week. So we like to keep it a little bit small that way. but a year's access is like, you should be able to work your way through the program within a month or less if you really hit it hard. Even the ones who don't and they kind of take their time with it, we find, they work at it little by little, and by 90 days, they're pretty much done. So, but then you can still ask me anything else within that year. So any advice you want about your website or your digital marketing, you can ask me in there, and happy to answer it. Okay, let's see. Next one, another one from Fort Worth Claims Adjusters. Have you invested or suggest investing in custom schema versus a plugin like Yoast for better ranking? Not trying to be too techy. Yeah, I haven't, honestly. I like Rank Math. You mentioned Yoast. Rank Math is my new favorite SEO plugin. And honestly, like, I'm not that techy of a guy to go in there and start making something custom. You don't need to in almost any case. And Rank Math actually has, in terms of schema, like, I don't know if you mean like they've got a great local SEO schema thing in there to where you can just pop in a few details and it increases your chances of ranking in those map listings. So they've got all their bases covered there. I don't think you need anything custom there. All right. Next one is from, let me go ahead and clear some of these out of the way. Next one is from Waleed. Hey, Waleed. This is from an email question I got earlier. As I understand, you've designed the course in a simple way that enables even non-techie guys, to build their websites themselves, right? I'm a web designer. Would that be a good fit for me since I know quite well about web design? In other words, would it help me in generating new web design clients? Yeah, Waleed, I did touch on this earlier. I don't know if you were here for that, but basically, yes. To your first question, this is built for non-techies. I'm a non-techie. I know the marketing. I know the principles that go into a website that converts. And now that we have something like Elementor, I actually am able to build a website myself. Before the days of that, forget about it. I had a developer. I would make everything in Photoshop, and then I'd have to pass it along to him to actually code it up. But now with Elementor, I'm able to kind of take more control over that, which is what I want for you guys too, to be able to actually take control over your own websites. Because who wants to have to go back to their web designer or web developer all the time, particularly when they may go out of business? I hear it all the time. So that is the aim here, is to be able to bring it in-house so you can make tweaks whenever you need to, and you'll know exactly how to do it. The next part of the question is, I'm a web designer. Would it be a good fit for me since you know about web design? Yes, because it's going to teach you some new tricks, basically. It's going to teach you, because web designers are inherently, they're designers at heart. They want everything to be pretty, which I love that. I used to be a designer myself. I still like to think I kind of am, but what it's going to teach you is that there's more to it than the design. There's the layout, the overall top to bottom, start to finish story any web page needs to tell to make people interested in working with you. That's not done with design. It's done with design a little bit, but it's mostly to do with the content and the order that you present that content. So even if you think you know web design, you will learn new stuff here that's going to help not only you get more clients, but it's going to help your clients get more business too. So absolutely, it's going to help in all that. All right. I do want to remind anyone who's here who didn't catch the beginning of this, this is our open enrollment week for the Profitable Website Launchpad. Enrollment ends on Friday, so now is your time to lock in your enrollment and get started on the website that's going to actually bring in more clients this year. So I should actually mention really quickly who this is for, right? It's not for everybody. The Profitable Website Launchpad is designed for service business owners who are not selling something on their website, right? It's not for e-commerce. If you're selling a product on your website, this is not going to help you with that. If you're a service provider, if you're a plumber, if you're a designer, if you're a own a cleaning company or a dog walker or anything like that, and you want to use your website to get more people to get on the phone with, to close them off of your website, that is what this is for. First and foremost, and it's going to help you do way more of that. So if that's you, consider joining. And if you're wondering if it's right for you, just go ahead and ask. I'm planning on being here for the next hour or so I'll answer any questions you got. All right, another question from Omar. I'm a business coach for therapists. Most upload a photo of themselves as the hero image instead of the outcome their clients want. When is it okay to use one's photo as the hero? That is a great question, Omar. So the way I look at this, basically, and you're right, you always in the hero generally want to convey what's important to your client. So in other words, you need to show them as the hero in that story, not you as the therapist. There are a few exceptions to this, but I'll answer your first question first. When is it okay to use your photo? I like to use your photo on the About Us page as well as on the homepage, but a little further down, right? Like have the hero section. And when I say hero, for anyone new here, that just means the top section on a website that's basically laying out the headline, the subheadline, just letting people know what it is you do, right? It usually has a big full width photo behind it. That's what we're talking about when we say the hero. And yeah, most therapists will put their own photo there. Most attorneys will put their own photo there, or like a big group shot of all the people that work in their office. You're much better off showing a happy person who's now able to live their life fully. That's going to connect much more emotionally than just a photo of you. But it's time to use a photo of you a little further down the page, and certainly on the About Us page, because it's a fine line. You do need to have a presence on your own website. That way people will see that there's a real person behind your business. If you don't do that at all, then people start wondering like, what kind of like backroom operation is this? I don't get a sense of who I'm dealing with, and that scares people away. So yeah, use yours in those places we talked about where it makes sense to use your photo as the hero. You'll notice if you go to my website, wesmcdowell.com, I have my picture as the hero there. The reason being, anyone coming to my website already knows me because I don't do SEO anymore. Everyone comes to my website based on YouTube. And what I was getting when I was showing more of those photos of other people enjoying their websites and getting more clients, people were confused because they expected to see me there because they knew me from YouTube. But the general service business out there, if you're not on YouTube or you're not really kind of a known quantity yet, they're not expecting to see you there. So it's not confusing when you're not there. And then their story is better reflected in the other kind of photo. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let me go ahead and get rid of this one. Another question from Shara Elise. Hey Shara, I'm new to WordPress website design, but I've used a website builder before. I've heard with WordPress, plugins are to be updated every few months. Would that be the case with your program? So here's the thing. My program's not really a plugin. You will use a plugin to make it work, which is Elementor. Just a little crash course here. The way it works is you basically you create a new WordPress install through your web host. Then you upload the Elementor page builder plugin, which is what lets you create everything and lets you use the site template that I'm going to give you and all that stuff. And yeah, you want to keep everything updated. But the good news is everything is pretty compatible these days. Like there's very rare cases when a plugin will do anything bad to your site. That's generally if it's a plugin that's kind of stopped being supported. But Elementor is actually like, they're just getting started. They're not going anywhere. So you have nothing to worry about there. I really do think Elementor is quickly on its way to being the standard by which all websites are built. Sorry to anything like Wix out there if you're using Wix. I think their days are numbered simply because I've used Wix, I've used Elementor. Elementor is way easier to use. So I think it's I think it's the way it's going. So I don't think you have anything to worry about there, Shara. But yeah, you definitely want to keep all your plugins updated. It's generally like you get an alert on there that says you need an update, or you can actually do it automatically to where it just automatically updates your plugins. I've never had an issue with that. Okay, let's see. We have a question from Nick. Got this one from email as well. I've been thinking about using the profitable website Launchpad for our DJ company. However, I just saw your Instagram ad for Elementor Cloud. Oh, Elementor. So now I'm confused about which way to go. I assume the profitable website Launchpad is custom designed for service businesses, and you have templates built that will speed up the process. I have very little experience with website development, so please don't take this the wrong way, just trying to figure it all out. Yeah. So the question here is, and it's funny you're starting to see those ads. I did, Elementor approached me to record some ads for them, and I think those are live now. And it's specifically talking about Elementor and Elementor Cloud as well. So Cloud is just their hosting platform. So they kind of have like an all-in-one hosting thing. So that would work along with the program, right? That's just a decision you would make. Like, do I want to get hosting with Bluehost, or do I want to just get it with Elementor Cloud? Either way, it's kind of the same experience. It's just Elementor is hosting your website versus something like Bluehost or GoDaddy over here. So it makes no difference at all. Hopefully that makes sense. Make sure I answered this fully. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think I got that one. All right. Next question is from BR Molinitas. How should content or blogs sound to readers when they visit the website? How should it sound to readers? I think I know what you're getting at. I think basically I think this is a question about just kind of voice with any of the writing on your website. Let me know if I'm wrong. BR, let me know if that's not your question. But it's a great one, which is your content on your website, whether it's your blog posts or your sales pages, your About Us page, all of it should sound conversational. It should sound like the way you're speaking to a friend about your business. And if you're doing a blog post, it should be the same. It should come from a place from an innately human place. There's nothing worse than, we've all been there, right? We've been to these blog posts where you can tell some content writer was just tasked with writing this article, and all they did was they went and researched other articles along the same lines, and now they're simply regurgitating what they learned. That's not engaging. It doesn't come from a place of experience, or like the writer really knows what they're talking about. So always make sure when you're creating any of the written content, whether it's a blog post that's teaching something, bring your own experience into it. Make it personal. Make it like, use the first person. Like, when I tried this, not just, don't write it like a term paper, in other words, and it'll be better. And then okay. I think that is, okay. Ali, this is just to Ali, my content manager. Let's just make sure all new questions are going on the bottom. I think they are now, so cool. All right. Next question is from Topsoil Farm to Table Restaurant. Once we have our marketing message and story content in place on the website, how often should we tweak and refresh that content on our main pages? Yeah, so that's an interesting question. While it's good to keep your content fresh, Google likes to see that your website isn't completely stagnant. It's not super necessary to keep tweaking the content, like the established content you already have. You can do that if it becomes outdated, or if maybe you're not even talking about Google, maybe you're just talking about if it's going to get stale for people. I have found that in general that doesn't happen very much, because we as business owners, we think that everybody's paying attention, very close attention to every word out of our mouths and everything we're writing on our websites. They're not. People skim websites, they don't read them. So for you to think that, people have been to my website and it's going to look the same, they don't remember. They don't remember like the exact wording. I would say change your messaging up when you think you're doing something different, when it no longer reflects what you're trying to do, or if you learn something new and you learn a better way of doing it. That's really the test that I would say. And then in terms of just keeping your site fresh, if we're talking Google, that really refers more to adding rather than changing stuff you've got. So if you have a blog, if you have a podcast, continuing to add that new content keeps your website fresh in the eyes of Google, and they like that. They like seeing that a website is growing, not necessarily changing, but growing over time. So that's basically what I'd recommend doing. And the other thing you can do too, let's say you have a blog post that's doing pretty well, but it's starting to get a little outdated, or you have a blog post that's almost doing well, but not quite. Maybe you can refresh it and make it a little bit more authoritative, make it a little bit more thorough and complete. And now maybe you'll start getting even more traffic to it. So that's really the kind of thing we're talking about when we talk about changing and tweaking a website. All right. Another one from the Jedi Bunny. I have a small service business. People call and I show up, and I'm about to start my online marketing. Can you explain how your course will work for me? Thanks again. Yes. So the way the course works is it's all about getting that marketing message dialed in just right on your website to where when people get there, they see that you can solve their problem better than anybody else. The way you do that is by getting in their head a little bit, right? You need to know the kinds of things that are important, like what problem are you solving for them? What are the symptoms of that problem? And the more you can call that kind of stuff out, and there's a bunch of it, by the way, that we get to within the course, but if you hit on all of these little points that basically mimic the beats of telling a story of someone wanting something, they have a desire, there's obstacles standing in the way of that desire before they can get it. If you can hit on those beats, it comes alive in their brain much better than if it was just the way most people do their websites. So that is how it's going to help you the most. Beyond that, I should call your attention to the, let me go ahead and I'm just going to go back here to the, I'll show you, like, this is how you're going to get people to your site, by the way. This is a bonus. So we didn't really go into it earlier, but the bonus module Turbo Traffic is a 7-video, it's a course within a course basically. And it's going to help you decide on the overall direction of what you should be trying to go for in terms of getting traffic to your website. And then, so I lay it all out, like this, you should do this if this is your case, or maybe if this is you, you should be focusing on this instead. And then each of these other videos are a deep dive into one of these methods that I recommend. So not only are we getting your marketing message dialed in on your website, but I'm also going to show you how to get way more people to your website. And then, we're also going to focus on that lead magnet part, which is how you're going to get people to come back to you over and over again, because that is what people need in general before they're really going to hire you. There's a small percentage of people who are ready to go right now. That's great, but you're leaving a lot of money on the table if you leave it there, right? If you leave it to those people and you ignore everybody else, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I'm going to show you how to get past that and get more of those people who are not ready today to speed up that cycle, to get them ready sooner, and to get them remembering you when they are actually ready to do something about it. So that is how it's going to help you. All right. Another from Shara. I'm a travel consultant looking to have full control of my website. Is this for me? Yeah. That is exactly what it's going to do. Like because you're going to, by the end of it, you're going to know exactly what that marketing message needs to be. You can use that in all areas of your marketing, which is like kind of the hidden benefit there. Once you get through module 4, you're going to know the basics of Elementor well enough to where now you know how to make any website, any page you ever need in the future. You know how to make any tweaks you need on your website. You will never need to have that call to your web designer, scrambling like, we need to make this change, like something's broken. Thing of the past, you'll never need to do it again. I really can't stress enough how easy Elementor really is. And that's what I try to do with the Launchpad, is really to streamline that for you. All right. From Michelle Fairchild. Hey, Michelle. Importance of backing up websites. How often? Yeah, that's something that you can get a plugin that'll do it for you in the background. A lot of hosting companies will actually do that for you in the background. It's nice, the ones that just kind of will every day or every week, they'll just take a backup in the background, and something goes wrong, you just back it up. So the more often, the better, I guess. It depends on how often you're tweaking your website, right? If you're never really touching it that often, then you don't have to back it up very often. But if you are, then you might want daily backups, you might want weekly. All right. From Omar, last question, possibly. Keep asking them, Omar. I'm happy to answer it. I've heard you speak on the benefit of publishing reviews and testimonials on a site. Many therapists are restricted from soliciting client reviews. What do you recommend they do? Yeah. In the medical profession, I know it's different. There are ways of, because at the end of the day, all a testimonial is social proof, right? It's letting people know you've helped others. And it's letting people know that you're an authority in your field. So if you cannot use any kind of testimonials on your website at all, the second thing you can do is you can use other kinds of social proof. Things like showing locations where you've been featured, showing, I would say, like companies you've worked with, but that's more B2B. It probably wouldn't apply to you. But yeah, media outlets where you've been featured is a great one. I actually have a video, I'm trying to remember, I feel like it was probably a year or two ago I made it. It's basically, what is the name of that thing? It's a service. There's several of these, by the way, where you basically pay a company. They put out this press release about your business that gets channeled into all these media outlets, like reputable ones, like local news affiliates for like ABC, CBS, names people know. So you're basically mentioned in the press all around the web, which allows you to ethically be able to say on your website, featured on CBS, Fox, MSNBC, whatever it is. That can do a lot of good as well. The other thing you can do is really make content marketing your friend. People will forgive a lack of testimonials if they feel like they know you already. So if you have a podcast, which I think is probably a great idea for a lot of therapists, a podcast or a video series, it's a little harder work than just getting a few testimonials. But if you can get that lined up, testimonials will kind of not be nearly as needed, if that makes sense. All right. Let's get on to the next one from Alicia Coe. Hey, Alicia. What's your take on one-pager websites? Do visitors tend to feel that they lack legitimacy? You know what? I've seen them done well and I've seen them done poorly, Alicia. I think that the test here is it telling that complete story? Is it telling people everything they need to know to make a decision? There's nothing inherently good or bad about having multiple pages. In fact, having too many pages is probably worse than not having enough. I'd rather see you have a one-page website than a 30-page website, which so many businesses, when I talk to them, they've got these like big mega sites because they think that everyone needs all that information. In reality, it kind of paralyzes people, right? They don't know where to go. They're now taken out of the path to a conversion. So I would rather see, and this is why in the course and in everything I teach on YouTube for that matter too, I always have you create a really good start to finish story beat by beat on the homepage, assuming that no one's gonna make it any further than that potentially. You wanna lay it all out there. So where I think we start getting into that category of lacking legitimacy is when it starts feeling like one of those like ClickFunnels, kind of like funnel builder website things. It just doesn't feel like it's a real website, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of those, but having a one-page website that's properly branded, that really hits on the saga, the story that's happening to your customer. If you can do that in one page, that's fine. I tend to like having a few more pages in that. I like having an About Us page, a pricing page, FAQs, and you definitely need somewhere for them to schedule a consultation or whatever it is your conversion looks like for you. You need all that stuff. But if you can do it all in one page, not the end of the world, but all right. Next, another one from Fort Worth Claims Adjusters. After we complete the course and implement what we learn into our site, do you or someone on your team review what we've done to provide feedback or suggestions to further refine it? Yes and no. So here's what's offered basically in terms of reviews, feedback. By the way, I'm toying with the idea. I'm not going to say yes right now to that because it's not implemented yet. But here's what you get as of now. You get that Facebook group, you get access to that for a year. And in that in that group, you can ask me questions. Well, you can ask me, and I throw out these little prompts throughout the course too. Like, for instance, for your hero section, since it's so important to get your headline and subheadline right in that section, I say, drop it in the Facebook group. I will let you know what I think about it. I'll give you my little critique on it. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people will ask for feedback on certain things. What I can't do in that group is do a full-on review of your site. That's just out of scope, and it would take, I couldn't really do that. It's not what it's for. But if you have a specific thing you need feedback on, absolutely. But the thing I'm toying with here, I'd actually like to know you guys' opinion. You might as well let me know in the comments. I'm thinking about changing, probably still keeping the Facebook group, but also adding a more interactive element where it's not just me answering questions like I'm doing now. It'd be more of a Zoom call where people can be there and we can have more of a conversation. I'm thinking about doing that. So if we do implement that, then that would be something we could potentially do, like take more of a look at your site. So let me know, and if enough of you want that, and I'm actually going to ask inside my Facebook group too if they want it. But I think that might be something we talk about doing in the next few months. So stay tuned for that. All right. Next is from Oscar at Old Hickory Sheds, Cameron Park. I'm having problems with image sizes. What do you recommend for this? Yeah, so there's two problems with image sizes. The first one being if your images are too small, then that means and this happens a lot where you go to a website and they're pixelated. That will make your website look very amateur. So just make sure you're downloading the appropriate sized image. The other thing is it could be too big, which is probably what I assume you're talking about. That means it can slow down your website. So I'll just give some general advice here. First of all, if it's a full width image, I recommend downloading something that is about 1900 pixels wide, 72 dots per inch, 72 DPI. Not 300, that's for print. 72 is generally good for web. The other thing too, what you can do, and I highly recommend, is using a plugin called NitroPack. There's a free version and a paid version. You can certainly, yes, there is still a free version of NitroPack. They've just hidden it a little bit. So you just go to their website and you've got to dig around for the free version. But basically what that does is it does a little background magic and makes your images the right size to where they're not bogging down your computer. So, but start getting it as close as possible to the right size anyway. Again, 1900 pixels wide if it's a full width image. If it's not, then estimate. If it's just like an image that's taking up like maybe a column, maybe do like 700 pixels wide, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, NitroPack will help you. All right, another one from BR Malintas. A law firm wanted help with their website and needs a major update. How often should we monitor and optimize website content? They wanted help with their website, how often should we monitor and optimize website content? I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to there. I don't know I don't know what you mean by optimize. I don't know are you talking about SEO? Are you talking about kind of IT? Let me know, and I can maybe help you a little bit better there. Next one is from, and by the way, we're kind of almost out of questions here, guys. So if you got one, ask it. Otherwise, we may wrap it up a little early. So this one is from Topsoil Farm to Table Restaurant. How much time will it take roughly to rebuild existing pages in Elementor? The whole program is designed to be worked through in about a month. That's not saying you're working 40 hours a week for a month. That's just meaning like for the average person who has a limited amount of time, a few hours a night, most people get through it in about a month. And what I would caution you against, however, with the course is let's not think about it as rebuilding existing pages, because what you're going to learn in the first few modules is going to fundamentally change your site for the better, content-wise. But maybe you're not even talking about the Launchpad. Maybe I jumped the gun there. Maybe you just mean you just want to recreate your website in Elementor. Shouldn't take too long. I mean, it really depends on what you have going on in your web pages currently, but it's pretty easy to do. You just go section by section, and you can pretty much recreate almost anything you can think of once you get the basics down. And for context, I told you guys earlier, I'm not that techie. It's true, I'm not. And when I started learning Elementor, I feel like I was very confident in my abilities within like an hour or two, in terms of just I knew how things were laid out. I knew how to drag a widget into place, and I knew how to customize it, change the font, change the text size, the colors, the background images, all that stuff. So I would say like play around with Elementor for an hour or two, and you'll kind of get it. Like it's pretty intuitive. All right. And BR has replied back in terms of SEO updates. So basically what you'd want to do then, BR, and again, I'll rephrase the question. A law firm wanted help with their website and needs a major update. How often should we monitor and optimize website content for SEO? I mean, I would just be monitoring to see like how well certain pages and posts are doing in rankings. And then what I like to do, kind of a trick that I learned a while ago, is I like to find the posts that are almost on page one, right? They're not quite ranking well, but they're close. I like to start with those and make them more complete. I like to kind of add in more keywords and just not just more keywords, but make it much more of a thorough piece of content that's helpful. Because Google just came out now with their new helpful content algorithm, and basically they're rewarding sites now that have helpful content. What that means, we don't know for sure, but I think it means it's content that's not written for SEO, right? So, and I know it's hard. Whenever you're a designer, you think about the aesthetics. When you're an SEO expert, you think about how many times can we fit this keyword into a page, when you really should be thinking about how can we make this page or post exactly what the searcher was looking for in terms of content. That's how I would approach that. In terms of how often, just keep monitoring it, just in the background, see if you're falling or rising through the ranks and make adjustments accordingly. But it's going to be more about adding new content versus like tweaking what you've already got. All right. Next is from Alopecia Life. My website's already created with Elementor. Awesome. Do you feel the Launchpad will be useful for someone who already has an Elementor site? Yes, because again, the Elementor part, the building part, it's what a lot of people tend to focus on. What I have to really impress upon you guys though is this is not just a meat and potatoes, here's how to build, how to code up a website. It's much more than that. It's about the messaging. That's the part that's going to sell your services for you. The Elementor part is simply how we're going to bring it to life. It's the modality. It's the car that gets you there. But all the content is what's going to be served up on a platter through Elementor. So even if you know how to use Elementor, great, you're ahead of the curve there. You'll feel much more, you'll be up and running faster when we get to module 4. But up till then, I don't know what your website's like right now, but I find that almost every website I've ever seen can benefit, at least service businesses can benefit from the framework that I'm going to walk you through inside of there. And people are doing big things with this program. Like, I don't know if you saw the video last week with Marvin, where basically he got his first client on the unfinished website when he was in the middle of doing it, because everything was laid out in such a way in his website now where it made the case for why they would want to work with him. That's what I'm talking about. That's how it's going to help you the most. All right. And Omar says, you said to continue asking. Absolutely. Would you suggest to combine a fees page with an FAQ section or have them separate? Yeah, I would definitely say pricing should be separate from FAQs. It's good to separate things out so people can kind of choose their own adventure in a way. I like having some of these things represented on the homepage as well, but let's not combine things that don't necessarily go together on a different page. What are the pages you suggest a service-based business needs to have? For example, homepage, about us, service pages, fees, FAQs, and contact us. So yeah, you got a lot of that right. Obviously, we need the homepage, and that's where I recommend really telling that as complete a story as possible so that people don't even need to go to any other pages necessarily. Other than that, you want an About Us page where you talk about, more of your what makes you an authority and able to help people. Then we need a pricing page in most cases. I highly recommend that. Even if you think that you can't talk about pricing, there's always a way to talk about pricing in a way that's going to help people either qualify in or out, or at least get a ballpark range. So you want that. You want FAQs. You generally want, and then you need a lead magnet opt-in page, right? Do not skip that. This is something that a lot of people want to skip the lead magnet part. They think it's a nice to have. They think it's, we'll see about it later. They think it's much more important to get the sales right now for the people that are ready. Caution you against that. I really think having the lead magnet opt-in page, getting people on your email list is going to change your business. Period. Full stop. Your email list is going to change your business. And that's where a lead magnet comes in. So you need that page to get people on your list. Followed up by some good email marketing on the back end, obviously. And then you need your scheduling page, right? Your book a consultation or whatever that looks like for your business. What you don't generally want to do is just have a contact us page. That lacks meaning, right? If I have a contact us page on my website, I get people just trying to sell me stuff, right? Versus scheduling a consultation, scheduling a meeting, that's a different story. Now people have a purpose, like a goal, something to do on that page, rather than just kind of firing it off an email that they don't know if you're going to email them back or if you're going to call them back or if you're going to do anything at all. So that's kind of what I recommend there. And then another one from Omar, you've said video is on the rise. I paid to create a business explainer video. I placed it on the homepage, but hardly any clicks. I then moved it to the About Us page. Is video still worth it? Yes, video is still very much worth it. Where I think some people get a little bit misled with video is, what I don't necessarily mean with video is to have it be a commercial or have it be selling your services. Video is gold when it comes to content marketing and helping people get to know you a little bit, kind of like what we're doing here, right? Like you guys have watched my YouTube videos. That's the kind of video I really mean, not so much like an explainer video about your business. That can be great too, especially if you're a business that needs a little bit of explanation. If it's a new category, or if you need to explain what makes you a better fit. And if it's a clicks problem, you might need to tweak the thumbnail. Like what I would say to do is really look at what thumbnails you see on YouTube that draw your eye in and create something like that. Don't just have it be a boring, dry thumbnail that looks like it's just going to be a commercial. Get a little bit more creative and you'll get more clicks that way. But yeah, video is still 100% worth it. It is, but again, and I'll say this too, you hired a business to make it for you. I don't always recommend going that route. I think it's much more powerful to have you on camera or someone in your company on camera building that relationship. Because I know these animated, I assume it's animated. That whenever I think explainer video, I think of those animated ones where, it's just kind of, it's lacking a human element, I think is what I'm trying to say. So anytime you can be on camera, really making that connection with your potential clients, that is going to go way further than what I'm picturing is probably on your website now. All right. Next up, we have from John Gilroy. Hey, John, what webinar software do you recommend? I actually don't recommend website or webinar software. Webinars are great, particularly if you're selling a course like I am, or they can even work well for a service business if you have a higher dollar offer. But what I like to see people doing nowadays is actually getting away from the old school, pretending like we're live, but we're really not kind of thing. I guess let me take a step back. If you're actually going live, then you do need a webinar software. So I take that back. I have not really done that, to be honest with you. So I can't really, I know there's something called Webinar Jam. I think that's one of the ones I hear about a lot. But if you're talking about kind of what we call in the business an evergreen webinar, it's not live. People just pick a time and they watch it basically on demand. I've started getting rid of the software. Now I just have a video. My webinar is hosted on Vimeo. It's kind of hidden. People opt in to my masterclass, and then it brings them to the page where it's there. I let them pause. I let them rewind. Things that, they used to say don't let people do. But I've found that when people have control over it, over the experience, they're much willing to stick around for it. If you come to my webinar and it just auto plays and you have no control over stopping or starting it, people are going to get, if they have to get up and go to the bathroom or if they get thirsty or something, they're going to come back and they may not pick up with it because they felt like they missed something. So I think those kind of practices are falling by the wayside big time. Just let people watch it on demand and you'll be fine. All right. Next is from Bluebee Comedy. I'm into animation and graphics outsourcing. It's a service-based business. Will the Launchpad work for my niche? Yeah, so if your service is animation and graphic, like graphic design, I'm picturing, like for sure. Anything where you're doing something as a service and you can explain to people, well, in your case too, you're going to need a few extra things that are also covered in the Launchpad for when you need a more visual element to it, like designers do and animators do. There's a whole section in there too that'll show you how to create that gallery, how to feature that on your homepage, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's definitely for you as well. Next, from Emerge with Mason. How long does it take to complete this process? Yeah, so as I said, it's designed to really be worked through in about a month on that really kind of breezy schedule, right? If you have a job or you already own your own business, you can't devote your entire life to it. So if you spend a few hours a few nights a week, you'll generally be done with it in about a month. However, I have had people, if you go to the sales page if you go to wesmcdowell.com/launch, right there, I think I'm pointing at it, you'll actually be able to see a lot of the case studies where people have finished it a whole lot faster. People have done it in a really coffee-fueled weekend. I don't necessarily recommend doing that, but people have done it. They just kind of tear through it because they've said that it's that easy to follow. It just kind of strips out the confusion, which is super helpful when it comes to creating something like this. Because I will say, I was listening to a podcast this morning, and it really, something that she said on the podcast stuck with me. She said something like, we have an epidemic in this country of everyone trying to learn too much. What we need more of is doing, right? What I want to see you not do is fall into the trap of learning some more. I'll do it when I know enough. This program, the Launchpad, is all about the doing. Yes, you're going to learn a whole lot, but in doing it, in going through it with me, you're going to have done it. You're going to actually walk out the other side with a finished website. It's not just about learning how to build a website. It's about doing it together with me. Facebook group is accountability, so you can get my feedback along the way. Very powerful stuff. And you can go as fast as you want, like in a weekend, or you can go as slow as you want. You have lifetime access to it. So if you sign up now, you'll have access. Not only will you have access to it, you'll also get access to any updates we do in the future. I've already updated it once. We did a fairly robust revamping of all the course material this year. So you have access to that. You'll have access to the next time if that ever happens. So yeah, go at your own pace by all means. Okay, next question, and this looks like the last one we've got for now. So if you have any more questions, guys, now's the time. From Icarus, how to find freelance clients as a beginner. I work in web design and Webflow development. Yeah, so you're going to want to be on social, probably. You're going to want to get those testimonials. You're going to want to work with clients, even if it's kind of charging less than you will a few years from now, just to get the social proof down and be able to show that you've done something and moved the needle for people in a real way. And I will say, if you were to use the Launchpad for this, you will be able to bring that to your clients as a web professional, all right? What I mean by that is most web designers out there, they either focus completely on the visual, which is not really going to get their clients anywhere. Sure, they'll get a pretty website and not much more than that. But by following the framework that I'm going to show you in the Launchpad, you will then be able to bring something new to your clients, which is a way, like a framework for interviewing your client to figure out what their clients need, then creating content to serve that function, to serve your client getting more clients through their website. Doing that is going to create way more success stories for your web design business, and that's going to just perpetually feed itself. And you'll get more people and more people based on the kinds of testimonials you're going to be able to get and the case studies you're going to be able to present on your website. So yeah, that's about the main benefit here that I can really convey to you guys is this is all about getting results. If you're a web pro, great, you can get results for you and for your clients. If you're a small business owner of any kind, service business owner of any kind, this will get results if you follow me closely and really nail down the Customer Saga framework the way I present it. If you can filter everything through, and you can, there's really I've not run into anyone yet who is unable to do this, because it's going to flex to fit the needs of your clients. That's what it does. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. And I should say this too, in terms of the look, because I know a lot of people are like, is this going to look cookie cutter, Wes? We're using your site kit template. Is every website that comes out of this program going to look like everybody else's? Not at all, because you're filtering everything through the same framework, but it's your own details that are going through it. And then when it comes time to do the design of it, you're choosing the images with my help. I do show you how to do that, to choose the right kinds of images that go together and tell the right story. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then it's all going to tell the right story from start to finish. So, all right, we've got some more questions coming in here. Another one from Fort Worth Claims Adjusters. I'm invested in talking head product service videos. How do you feel about adding comedy videos or shorts in the mix that poke fun at common issues or misconceptions for brand awareness and such. Yeah, so I think we were talking about, you're saying you are already creating videos for like content marketing. That's awesome. Comedy. So you can do that. Like, here's what I'll talk about in this, because I have recently gone through a shift of my videos being purely utilitarian, right? I'm teaching you how to do something, talking head style, just how this video has been. But I've recently kind of switched my thinking there, making it more story-based, making it more, cutting to more B-roll, using more, just more switching up the angles, making it more palatable for people to make it feel more digestible so it doesn't just feel like a lecture. So I would say you could go that route with it. Comedy is tricky. If you think you can do comedy, great. But comedy's not for everybody, and comedy doesn't always land. So if you're a natural fit for that, if you're funny and you know you are, and you can really make these funny, then go for that, lean into that. If not, there are other things you can do. It doesn't have to be funny to be entertaining. Look at a big like touch point for me is Matt Davila's videos. There's a little bit of humor in those sometimes, but they're not overly funny. But it tells a story. It really engages you. So I would look there, unless you know you want to do comedy. Okay. And then from Omar, if I transition in the future from one-on-one coaching to courses, where coaching is secondary to courses, do you have any website design suggestions on encouraging visitors to the courses? I know that space very well, and that's something you can always ask me inside of the Facebook group if you were to join the Launchpad. But I don't really teach. I focus here on YouTube on service business owners. So I don't really talk too much about creating websites for selling courses, that kind of thing. But there's a whole lot that goes into it for sure. You generally want to sell it with a webinar. So there's a whole front end and a back end. It hardly ever works just to simply sell your course on your website. You need to have a webinar that kind of leads people into it, or like what I'm doing this week. This is a week-long launch of the course where people can get in this week, but next week they can't. So there's different things like that. It's less about web design. It's more about the funnel you build on the front end and the back end. All right, from BR Malintis, what's the most important thing to see or read on a homepage in your opinion? Great question. The most important thing is to help, so it's the hero section. And I always talk about this. Within 3 to 5 seconds of people coming to your website, your homepage, they need to know what you do, why that's important, and what they need to do to get it. Those 3 things. So do not mask your hero section in vague language. Don't just put your logo really big there. What a missed opportunity, right? You need to let people know in plain terms what you do and how you help. So that by the time I read that hero section, I should have no questions about what you offer and why it's an important thing to have, how it's going to make my life better. Beyond that, benefits are super important. Next from Oscar at Old Hickory Sheds. What's the average price for a 5 to 10 page build website? That's such a loaded question, Oscar. It runs the gamut. Like, you can go on Fiverr and get a website like that for $100. I did that. I actually have a video on my channel all about having done that. That's not going to get you any kind of content advice or creation or anything like that. That will just be a website that you create all the content for. From there, and by the way, I would encourage you, anyone watching, do not think about when you're pricing a website about thinking of it in terms of how many pages. Think of it in terms of what you're getting for that, which is not pages. There's different levels of service, meaning, are you getting just a website? Meaning, I'm Joe Developer over here and I'm making you a website and then you will put your content on it. That's all I'm doing is making you a website. That's cheap. Anyone can do that for about $100, less than 1,000 certainly, not going to do much for your business. When you start getting in the higher price points, that's when they start giving more of an emphasis on the content. What needs to be laid out in the right order? Are they interviewing you? Are they doing discovery with you to see what it is your clients need? Or do they already just kind of know the questions to ask you, to kind of get to the heart of it? But yeah, don't think about, it's not like more pages is better, right? I like to live in that sweet spot of maybe between 3 to 6 pages on a website, plus your content pages, right? If you have a blog, those live separately over here, or if you have a podcast, that's separate. But just in terms of your website, your sales portion of your website, 3 to 6 pages is good. I would say plan on spending, if you're going to outsource it, if you're going to have someone else do it for you, if you want a good one that's going to have all that content planning for you, $5,000 to $10,000. Over $10,000 if they're really good. That's what I used to charge when I was doing it for clients, because I think I was pretty good. I think I knew what I was talking about. I had certainly done enough of these service business websites for others that were getting really good conversions because we were building it around something, right? We were saying the right things to the right people. We were not just slapping something up. Okay, let's get rid of these. Now from Southeast Community Resources. I'm a DI consultant. I don't know what that, here we go. I provide assessments, training, grant writing, and management. Should I create videos for diversity, equity, and inclusion, or building an equity lifestyle? I don't know. I'll always say when I don't know. I don't know what any of what your business entails, so I really can't answer that. I'll give you some advice. I will say when you're explaining something like this, if you want to try again, ask me in a different way. Let me know exactly what you do in a way that you'd explain it to someone who knows nothing about it, because I do know nothing about it. And that's really important on your homepage and on your website, is to explain what you do and remove yourself from it. You know your website, or you know your business extremely well. You know it inside and out. I don't. And a lot of people coming to your website don't either. So if you want to ask me again, assuming I know nothing, which I don't, I'll try to answer it. Okay, from Atul Roy. As a beginner freelancer, how much should I charge for a 5-page basic WordPress website? Again, don't charge based on the pages. Charge based on the value you bring, and I'm not really going to be giving that kind of pricing advice today, unfortunately. I stay in my lane. I don't tell people how to price. All right, from Bukola Timothy. Hi Wes, what's your thought on nav bars for the best possible conversion? Nav bars for the best possible conversion. Are we going for hidden nav bars to the extreme right? Or does it even matter so much in the website sales funnel? Yeah, so in terms of the navigation bar on the top, I do not recommend doing a thing where you hide it, where it's like over on the side versus on the top, because let's not reinvent the wheel here, right? People know how websites are supposed to work now. There's a shorthand with them. Whenever you hide things or put things in a different place because you think we need to be more creative here, you're going to confuse people more than you're going to impress them. And when you confuse, you lose every time. So if they can't find what they're looking for, they're going to move on. In terms of higher conversions, my best advice here is take everything that's going to lead to a conversion, the pages I went over earlier, right? About us, pricing, FAQs. Put those in the navigation bar and then have a button. Your main call to action button should be in your header so where it's always visible. So as you're scrolling down the page, it's still up there and they can still schedule something. And then any other pages, our mission statement, charities we work with, all that kind of stuff, even your blog, put it down in the footer navigation because those things don't lead to a conversion. Keep the stuff up top that does. All right. Next is another one from Shara. Would we need to have our logos finalized for the Launchpad? I'd like to revamp mine. Any suggestions to getting this done? No, Shara, you don't. Like, I actually have some advice inside the Launchpad how to do it, but no, you don't need to have it done before you start, because again, the first 3 modules are all about just kind of creating your content. And by the way, the logo does fit into there. It's kind of when you're gathering all your graphics and your images and stuff. But we're going to start with all the written content, so you can start there. But I will show you in module 2 how to actually get a good logo done, kind of on the cheap or even for free if your budget's really tight. So yeah, you're covered there. All right. From Southeast Community Resources. Okay. Yeah, okay, this is the one I already... Yeah, diversity, equity, inclusion. Yeah, I still don't really understand what that means. Sorry, I mean, you need to tell me exactly what you do in a way that I can understand it, and I'll be happy to answer it. Okay, and we have got another one from Omar. I'm slowly building a YouTube channel in the spirit of content marketing for my coaching for therapists business. Any recommendations from your YouTube experience around becoming a YouTuber? Yeah, so many recommendations. I will say, first and foremost, being on YouTube has transformed my business 100%. It's because I'm building a connection with people. Like, you're here right now watching me, I'm talking right to you, and that does wonders for any business, right? So definitely do that. I will say though, it depends on what you want to make sure you're doing, Omar, is you want to make sure that you're actually talking to the people who are going to end up being your clients. So it sounds like you're talking so you're a therapist, right? So you have clients who are in therapy. Then it sounds like maybe you have another arm where you're coaching therapists. That'll be easier to kind of talk to those people because that's more business advice, but you can still talk to the people who are in the market for a therapist. Obviously it's not therapy, right? You know that better than anybody. But you can still kind of share general life skills in generalities in there. And I think you're going to do great. YouTube is amazing for that. A podcast is also great. I tend to prefer video just because I think there's more of a built-in kind of search and find mechanism with YouTube. Podcasts are not quite there yet. I've had a hard time I don't know if you guys have been following, I made a video probably almost 2 years ago about how I quit my podcast just because it was hard to find an audience for it. Searching out for podcasts just is not as easy as it is in YouTube. So for that reason, I really think YouTube is great. You really want to focus on storytelling. You really want to focus on not just giving meat and potatoes information, at least not in every video, because you need people to actually want to come back for more, even when the topic doesn't sound interesting to them. That is your goal, is to get people to like you and your content in general enough to where even if you put out a video that doesn't even sound interesting in topic, they'll still think it's an Omar video. I got to watch it, right? So that's my biggest advice for that. Just really make it to where you're sticky, and you'll do that by showcasing your personality in addition to the actual knowledge you can bring to the table, if that makes sense. All right. From Baz the Dev, do we lose unique aesthetics and new designs by using a similar optimized design pattern? Hero sections, headlines, and call to action. Will all websites not feel the same? Yeah, so I actually answered this earlier, Baz, but I get this question a lot, so I'm glad you asked it again. No, because I provide you with the site kit template. It's a starting point. And within it, I need to make this very clear. So basically within it, like for the homepage, for instance, there are about 8 different sections in a homepage, the way I teach it. In the site kit template, you have about 5 different versions of each section to choose between. And these are just, think of these like wireframes. These are just basically containers that you would be putting your content into. Some of them are full width, some of them have an image over here with, you know what I mean? So as you choose the wireframe you like the best, you delete the others, then it's time to really make it your own. You do that in a few ways. Your image is going to do that. The colors you use are going to do that. The fonts you use are going to do that. And there's actually another video late in, I don't know, let me show you here. I'm just going to go back into the screen share. So I'm trying to remember. So in module 4, where is it here? I think it's toward the end here. Advanced design tricks and cool customizations. This video is all about me showing you extra really cool things you can do. So even if you follow the Sitekit template and you don't really add too much more than just kind of adding your own graphics and stuff up till now, you will be able to add all kinds of cool little things if you choose to do that. But I gotta say, don't let that scare you if you don't want to do that. Those are things that are not going to get you any more conversions. Gotta stress that. I always want to push back when people start asking too many questions about how unique is this going to be. It'll be unique, trust me, because it's your branding, it's all that stuff. But uniqueness is not going to sell your service. The content is going to sell your service. Your job is to create content that's compelling enough. I'll help you do that in modules 1 and 2. Then your next challenge is to present it in a way that feels professional and polished and like you're the real business that you are. And that is going to be very easily doable with what I have for you in module 4. So all that together, and then you add the uniqueness on top of that, you're gonna get to where you need to be. I wouldn't worry about the uniqueness. It'll be there, it's built in every step of the way. I will show you how to make it uniquely yours. All right, cool. So let's move on to Khalul Dennis Robert. Hey Wes, what's your take on having a directory area on your service website? The directory is for clients. I'm not really sure what you mean by a directory. If you want to clarify that, I can take another stab at it. Okay, from Solomon Muchori. I have knowledge of WordPress. Should I offer free services before I start to charge money? Again, I'm not going to give too much advice on how to work with your web design clients. That's not really the focus of this channel. I'll say maybe charge less, but I probably wouldn't do it for free. All right. And then, okay, from Omar Ruiz, we got a few more. Is there any value to adding social media icons to a site as far as improving conversions? Great question. Not really. Social media sharing buttons can be good. The value of those isn't huge. Like I would put those maybe on your blog posts, your podcast episodes, or your video pages so people can share your content. People generally don't click those very often. But what you don't want to do is add all the social buttons to link back out to your social media. Social media is where you get traffic from. It's not where once you've got people where you want them on your website, you don't send them back out. You can have your social media icons. You should have them for anyone who really wants them, but put them down in your footer navigation. Do not put them up in people love to put them in their top navigation because I think it's just a function of they see other people doing it and it's something colorful and they think it makes them look professional. But your truth is you're sending people in the opposite direction, so don't do it. Should a site have both a logo and the word home hyperlinked to the homepage or just the logo? I like to just do the logo, honestly. Most people know by now that having the logo, like clicking on the logo will link back to the homepage. All right. I don't think I have anything more here. So anyway, guys, I will stick around for another minute or two while I kind of just go over this with you again. So this is the week to get into the Launchpad. The doors do close on Friday at midnight. And this is really going to be game changing for your business to have the kind of website that is going to showcase why it is anyone would want to work with you. It is not about talking about you as a business. It is about talking about how you help your clients. Can't stress that enough, and that's exactly what it's going to help you do. No tech experience required, no writing experience required, and you do get the benefit of a year in the private Facebook group where you can ask me anything in terms of getting going. If you need any clarification on any part of the course, you ask me in there and I'll answer it in that week's live Q&A video. Oh, we got another question from Kalul Dennis Robert. Hey Wes, what's your take on having a direct, oh no, that's the one we already had. Still waiting on clarification from that Kalul if you would like. Baz the Dev is saying, are personas still valued and are they worth it? Yeah, you need to know who you're speaking to. So when we talk about a persona, that's what we're talking about. Do you necessarily need to name the person like some people do? I don't know. If it helps you, but you definitely need to know who your clients are, what problems they're experiencing. So for me, it's a lot less about the demographic information, much more about what we call the psychographic information. What's going on in their head? What problem do they have? What have they already tried that hasn't worked? Who do they follow online? All that good stuff. Where do they hang out online so that you can get in front of them? So yes, personas are still very much important. So, all right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen again here. I just want to show you guys. Let's just walk through here real quick. So if you go to wesmcdowell.com/launch, you'll hit this page, and here you'll find, every important thing you'll need to know about the course, including all these testimonial videos, which I find to be extremely important whenever I'm trying to make a decision about something. You can see exactly what other people like you had to say about the program. We've got about 800 people in at this point, and I hear nothing but glowing reviews each and every day in my email, in the Facebook group. And here it's going to walk you through module by module here, what it is we're going to do together. And then when you click enroll now, again, this is the price breakdown. You have a choice of paying in 6 installments, each a month apart, of $97. You get started today with this price. Full access. Nothing is metered or dripped out to you. You get the same access as you get it paid in full. The difference is this one ends up costing you a little bit less in the long run. And you do get that 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you try it within 30 days, if it's not doing it for you, you don't like it, you don't like me, you don't like how I teach, you just got to email my team and we refund your money. It's as simple as that. And the entire program is online, so go at your own pace. You're under no pressure to go and finish the whole thing within a month. However, I will say that, this is the week to do it. It's not going to be offered again until January. So even if you're not ready to go right now, but if you know that you want to get going before the new year, if you want to start 2023 strong with a brand new website and have it ready to go, now would be the time to get in. You'll still have a year of the Facebook group, which is more than enough. Even if you were to wait a few months to get started, it'll all be waiting for you. So let's go ahead and see if there's any more. Okay, we've got a few more questions here, and then this is probably going to be it. We've got a few more from Bluebee Comedy, and we are reaching the 90-minute mark, so I'm probably going to call it in a minute here. All right, my website logo is orange. Do you recommend dark orange and black background as a color palette, or can I get the color recommendation in the course? Yes, we actually do have a whole lesson about choosing your colors. I show you exactly where I go for inspiration. And that is one of the things where I give you a prompt basically in the course to share your color palette with the Facebook group, including me, to get feedback on it, to see what I think about it, if I feel like it's appropriate. So it's a really good feature there. And then, does the Launchpad have a digital team building course for someone that needs a team? Have a digital team building course? No, this is all about your website, and it's mostly about getting the website up to the standards that it's going to actually be a high converter for you, as well as getting people to it with that turbo traffic bonus module. But we don't really talk about building a team for your business. That's out of the scope of there. But you can ask me anything in that Facebook group about building a team. So you'll always be able to ask me my advice there. I have a team that I've assembled over the past few years, so I can certainly answer those kind of questions for you in there. All right. I think that's going to be it, guys. Hope that this was enlightening. Hopefully I've gotten you a little bit excited about what lies inside of the course for you. Again, the doors do close on Friday at 11:59 p.m. Chicago time. So I really hope that you'll meet me on the inside there where I can really help you. What I can do for you here on YouTube is I still stand behind all my videos. I think I've got a lot of good stuff to teach any small business owner there. But the difference with the Launchpad is it is a start to finish roadmap, starting from nothing all the way through, step by step, action by action, page by page. So you're left with no questions. And if you do have questions, that's what the Facebook group is for. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this and hopefully I answered all your questions. And I will speak to you the next time we do this live in January. Oh, and by the way, I do want to direct your attention to if you're watching this later or something, and if there's any more questions you have that I haven't answered, there's a few things you can do. You can email my team, hello@wesmcdowell.com. We can answer your question there. Or if you go to wesmcdowell.com/launch, which is the sales page, there is going to be a little chat bubble on there where you can ask me a question. And if you do that, I will personally send you back a voice response back, not for my team, but for me, answering any question you have. Just want to make sure, I want you to be confident that this is for you or not for you. And if it's not right for you, I will definitely tell you that. So yeah, that's all I got, guys. Hope you're having a great week, and I will speak to you live in January, but plenty more YouTube videos to come before then. All right, have a good one.